Hey everyone, welcome to the live. So I'm a few minutes late. I couldn't get YouTube to work. I apologize for that. We have a lot to go through. Obviously, there's a lot of chaos going on right now. Turn off my computer. Sorry if it was echoing there for a second. Just a lot of chaos going on. So I want to walk you guys through everything from what came out with the income jury repayment plan, people not being able to get onto it, as well as some of the stuff that is in the budget reconciliation bill, because I've gotten a lot of messages, people freaking out about, headline news, pulling little pieces out of that and where that stuff stands. If you haven't heard of it, a lot of the stuff in the reconciliation bill is actually really important for students. And I'll explain why that is in a minute. It also talks about some of the stuff with PSLF we'll touch on, about changing hospitals. We have some updates on that stuff as well. So a lot of big news. So we will jump into it. Number one, like I said, student loan stuff is going to be changing. If you guys want, shameless plug, be sure to subscribe to the channel, because we're going to be updating you guys with all this stuff, not just all financial stuff as it comes out, but especially with the student loan stuff. So if you guys get a minute, be sure to subscribe. And if you have any questions, put these in the chat box. If you guys see me looking over here, it's because I'm looking at stuff in the chat and whatnot. So, but let's go through it. First, the budget reconciliation bill. I want to talk about this first because it has to do a lot with the overall conversation. First of all, we did get some good news. I'll explain why it might be good news. In that budget reconciliation bill, there's no more tax on overtime for those of you that work extra hours, and there's no more tax on tips for like people that work in restaurants, waiters and waitresses. Now I said kind of that's good news, because in the budget reconciliation process, they oftentimes just throw shit at the wall. Sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't. But it gives you a good idea of what's coming. That's number one. That's one reason why I wanted to bring that up. Or it also gives you kind of like the stance of where certain people and certain parties are really going at it, like just where they want to put their stake in the ground. Okay. So those of you, though, I did want to bring that up, because those of you that work extra hours, you might not be getting taxed on it soon. So that's a good thing. Okay. Now, the other insight that this budget reconciliation bill does is, on the budget reconciliation bill, all but one Republican voted for it in the House of Representatives. Not one Democrat voted for it. Okay. That's the big news out of that. Not one Democrat. Okay. So I'm going to bring that up again when we start talking about like PSLF and stuff, but I just want you guys to keep that in the back of your mind. I just wanted to start there for a reason. And I'll touch on that again. Now, for the big news, what the hell's going on with income during repayment plans? IBR, why can't I apply? It's a mess. Okay. And I'm going to go through this. And I'm going to go through two different things. One, because we found out one of the big reasons why today, but I also said something on social media last week. I said along the lines of, it's a mess in terms of the applications. Now, you guys got to, with all the IDR waivers that were coming, all the new save applications coming in, with all the PSLF buyback stuff. And then you have on top of it, 8 million people trying to go from save to IBR. The Biden administration wasn't processing any of those like the last 6 or 7 months. So it's just piled up. So I said last week that there was a chance that they put these things on pause just because they're trying to sort through all the noise. And that was part of the reason. I actually, there's an individual named Scott Buchanan. He's from the Student Loan Servicing Alliance. It's a nonprofit group. Basically, it's a group for loan service is what it's for. Basically, he was saying, yeah, there's a lot to clean up. That's what he was asked today, like, why is it paused? That was his reason. Okay. So that's one big reason. Now, the big reason is because of the injunction. Okay. And I want you guys to keep in the back of your mind that the application for income during repayment plans, let it be pay as you earn, save, filing separately versus jointly, IBR, it's all on the same application. Okay. Now, this is called the SAVE regulatory information, or the SAVE regulations that were passed. But in those regulations, President Biden slipped in a change to the way income-based repayment plans were calculated. And he slipped in a change based on when you're married. So those of you that are married, you will know you have to decide if you file or not. And if you file separately, the payments are based on your income. Now, one of the questions in there in the application is dependents. How many dependents have you have? So let's just say it's me and my spouse, and that's all that's in our family. And I file my taxes separately. On the IBR application, I can still file 2 dependents. Why is that a big deal? Because it drops my required payment if I do that. Okay. So what Biden changed was that you're no longer going to be able to do that. If you file separately, you can only have 1 dependent on that IBR application. Okay. So basically, it would increase your monthly payments if that regulatory law went through. Long story short, because he put that in there, it is part of this regulation that's being challenged by courts. And in the 8th Circuit Court of Appeal last week, they specifically said everything in this regulation is stopped. That IBR piece is stopped. But since it has to do with IBR, they can't process an application anymore because it's all on one application. Okay. So that is the big reason why nobody can apply for IBR right now. That is why no one that is like on repayment that has to recertify their income in the next month or two can't do it. Okay. Now, the Washington Post came out and they said that there was a memo instructing the loan servicers to stop for 3 months. That is correct. And I think they made it 3 months because they're anticipating that it's going to be solved by the courts within the 3 months because the court dates, the way the annual things are, from what I've been told, the annual year ends in June. So that's the 3 months. So they're expecting a decision before then. Now, I've had questions from some people like, I'm on PSLF. I've already done 120 months. I'm waiting for them to process this. Does that stop me from getting this processed? No, it doesn't. Like you're going to be able to get this thing processed. Okay. That doesn't stop anything with PSLF. Now, what it does stop is that if you are on an income during repayment plan and you haven't gotten it forgiven yet, and you're still like on month number 60, and then you have to go and certify your income. Let's say you're set to certify your income next week. They're not going to process that paperwork. You have to go on forbearance. And that's for all of you, new grads too, because I know a lot of you are trying to get onto an income during repayment plan right now that have just graduated. If you choose income during repayment plan, you're not going to be on it. And again, they should put you on forbearance. If they don't, then you can call them and ask them to put you onto forbearance. Okay. Now, I'm going to bring this back up with the nonprofit hospitals. I'm going to come back to that one in a minute. Now, does this mean that the courts have to make the decision on it? It could be in a slim chance that the budget reconciliation bill actually gets passed prior to the courts deciding this. From what I've been told, that actually happens in the budget reconciliation bill. They do away with SAVE. Like it's right in there. SAVE is gone. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. That thing passes. If that's the case, then the court case will get thrown out, and then IBR applications would open back up, and everything's good to go. However, some people are like cheering that on, like, yeah, like pass this thing so we can just get an answer. The problem with that is that we still don't have an answer on pay as you earn. What's going to happen with that thing getting forgiven at the end of the 20th year? Is it taxable or not? So there's some give and take there. So those are the 2 ways that like applications can open back up: is if the court decides, or the budget reconciliation bill actually passes somewhat quickly. Okay. We do have some questions that I had gotten throughout the day. Again, if you guys have questions, be more than happy to answer them. I'm going to go through these questions first, and then I'm actually going to go through the budget reconciliation bill because there's some stuff in there about PSLF and everything as well. If I already sent my application in months ago, what do? You got to keep waiting. They're not going to process anything. How long can I stay in forbearance? Now, technically, it's like 18 months. Like you can do three times of 6 months at a piece. I don't know if they're going to make this some type of special forbearance and count this against you or not. But they should have some type of answer, like I said, in the next month or two. So I wouldn't be too worried about that one yet. What if I'm on save and I'm trying to pay off my loans? Do I wait to switch? Yeah, absolutely. Right now, you're on save forbearance. I don't have any interest accruing on them. Just start making payments. Don't worry about the interest. If you're trying to pay off your loans aggressively, just start paying them off. Like you don't need to do anything. Just make prepayments, right? Well, this is a big one because I've gotten this a lot too. Will PSLF buyback. Sorry, I can't talk. Still be around if I'm on. Be around. As of right now, PSLF buyback is not being challenged in court. It has nothing to do with these regulatory frameworks. So as of right now, yes, it's still there. No one's even brought it up. Even in the reconciliation bill that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, all it says is that they want to review PSLF. There's no specific things in there. So as of right now, PSLF buyback is still there. Again, we'll see if it's there long term, but yes, it's still there. What do I think is going to happen to pay as you earn? That's a tough question. If save is struck down in one fashion or another, I don't think pay as you earn. I'm losing hope that it's going to be forgiven and taxed at the end of the 20th year. I think it's going to be forgiven and you owe a lump sum. I'm still kind of on the fence about that. I'm like 50-50. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening on that. Again, I'll touch on that question a little bit more when I talk about the reconciliation bill. Where can I find out how much my monthly payment is going to be on IBR if I'm going to go on to that in the future? Of course, I'm biased. Same as Plug. Sign up for FitBucks. We have all the tools you need to calculate that stuff. So, that would be my de facto answer on that one. Then what IBR plan do I qualify for? Because there's two IBR plans. There's IBR for old borrowers, IBR for new borrowers. It really depends on when you took out your loans. So, for example, if you have a loan prior to, I forgot what month it is, in 2014, it might be October or June of 2014. If you took a loan out before then from federal loans, you have to qualify for old IBR unless that old loan was paid off and then you took new loans after 2014. But they keep it simple. Prior to 2014, if you had a loan, you're going on old IBR. If it's after, it's new IBR. Okay. Well, Parent Plus loans still have an IDR option. That's a big question mark because ICR is basically also getting challenged in court, and that's the only one that they have available for parents. Now, here's the thing that somebody told me today, a lawyer that told me today, is that in law right now, Congress is very specific that an ICR plan has to be there. It just doesn't say what the terms are. So if the challenge goes through, it's like ICR will still be there for Parent Plus loans, but that doesn't mean that there's going to be forgiveness. Okay. So that's the big thing there. Can I file separately if I'm going on an IBR plan? Yeah, absolutely. IBR has the same filing separately status as Pay As You Earn and Save. Did get one question: is PSLF and PSLF buyback the same thing? Yes. No, they're not. Sorry. PSLF buyback is like, let's just say you had, 109 months of forgiveness. And hold on just a second, guys. Sorry, my computer's freezing up here. Let's just say you had 109 months of forgiveness and these forbearance things happened. Well, then what would happen then is you can turn around and say, hey, I've been in forbearance for 3 months. I want to buy those 3 months back at a hypothetical payment, and they'll allow you to do that. And then you can still get your loans forgiven. So it's all good there. Okay. Let me just try to close out of a screen real fast. There you go. Now it's back live. Sorry, my computer screen had frozen. That's why I was like, what's going on here? But that's PSLF buyback. If you guys want to take a look at that, there's if you go into YouTube and just type in on YouTube search like FitBucks PSLF buyback, we have a video on it that walks you through all that. But it's more for at the end if there's months missing and you need to buy them at the end when you're done with your forgiveness stuff. So I'm going to go through the reconciliation bill because this is huge, especially for students, especially. But it also puts to rest a lot of the big worries that people had. And I will put those things to rest right now. All the changes that I'm talking about on this are for loans after June of 2025. Okay. It does not apply to you if you're already in repayment or you've already taken loans out. Not only that, but none of this stuff is law. So the good news about this is that, again, this is a Republican based budget. They are grandfathering everybody in to their loans. This doesn't apply to you. So all these people, all the questions I've been getting of, if I'm on IBR, am I going to be grandfathered in if they change it? If I'm on PSLF, am I going to be grandfathered in if they change it? Yes. Like, that's what I got from this, is that they're not going to change it on you. So that's a good sign for all you guys that are in repayment. But let's go ahead and go through these bullet points that were brought up in the reconciliation bill when it comes to student loans. First one is that there's a borrow defense to repayment program. That one doesn't really apply to most of you guys listening to this. Prohibiting. Okay, so this is a big one right here, and I wish they did this. Prohibiting the Department of Education from enacting regulations to authorize new student loan forgiveness programs. Basically, so when Obama was president, he did 2 forgiveness plans on his own without Congress. Biden did the SAVE plan without Congress. This reconciliation bill would get rid of that completely. Okay. Meaning Congress had to go through it. And I say that's a good thing, because then there's more stability in it. And I'll give you an example. Like, when Obama was president, like I said, he came out with 2 plans, plus Congress did a 3rd one. So there was 3 plans within 8 years, actually shorter time period than that. It was like 5 years. It was a cluster trying to figure it all out. Okay. The loan servicers were crazy. President Trump came in, and everything was, he didn't change anything. So for like 3.5, 4 years before COVID, it was fantastic. We knew exactly what was happening. And now with all these new regulations came in with Biden, it's been absolute chaos, right? So for me, I look at it from a financial planning standpoint. The more stability I have and the more that I know that's going to be there, the easier it is to plan. So I think that's a good thing. And oh, by the way, guys, because I got this comment, and I've seen this comment so many times, especially on Reddit the last couple of days, about like the Department of Education taking down the applications for IBR. A bunch of people are, mother effing Trump, like he hates us, blah, 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 blah. I don't care one way or other. Like, I just look at politics and try to figure out, hey, what can I do for myself and what can I do for members of FitBucks that benefit them? It doesn't matter which way it goes, right? Like, what do we need to know to benefit people? The stuff with the applications being taken down, it doesn't matter if it was President Trump as president or not. Like, it's not him that did it. The court injunction did it. So it could have been Biden president. It could have been Harris president. They would have had to take it down, like, period. That's what the injunction did because of that IBR piece that I told you guys about earlier. Okay. So I just want to throw that in there, because I already got one comment in the chat that I had to delete because it was getting a little bit too political. But I've seen that a lot on like Reddit and stuff the last few days. Okay. Now, going back to these bullet points, this is probably, if you have children going into grad programs, for example, or if you are in a grad program or thinking of going into a grad program, this is the major bullet point from that reconciliation bill. Plus loans would be gone. Okay. Plus loans are gone. And they would be gone as of 2028. So that's 2 types of plus loans. There's grad plus loans, which most of you guys are familiar with. They're gone if this budget reconciliation bill goes through. And then parent plus loans would be gone as well. There would be no more parent plus loans. So I'll focus on graduate loans first. Why is that such a big deal? Because if they just keep the status quo that's out there, then you can only borrow $20,500 a year for grad school. And you might be capped out before that anyways, based on where you went to undergrad at and what your undergrad loans are at. And so what does this mean? Well, it means a couple things. One, that private loans would probably have to come back. Okay. Prior to President Obama, it was about 50-50 private loans and federal loans. That number is now about 93% are federal, 7% private. Private loans would have to come back to be able to fund the extra payments or the extra tuition from grad school. Now, the other side of that, the other option is for programs to reduce their tuition, which I don't think is going to happen. And even if they do, it's going to be very minimal. So when I look at that, my next question is well, what else are they going to change? Like, is there going to be an increase in Stafford loans and unsubsidized loans and that type of stuff for graduate programs? Are they going to say one blanket amount? So, like, the most you can take is $150,000 of student loans, period, for undergrad and federal, and there's no cap. So, like, if you took zero out for undergrad, but you needed to take 50 a year for grad school, you could do that for 3 years and you'd do fine. Who knows? That is the big question. Okay. The other one would be that the student loan interest subsidy, so subsidized student loans, would be gone. The student loan interest tax deduction, which a lot of people, especially you guys that are graduate professionals or have a graduate degree, that the student loan interest tax deduction would be gone. Like, most of that doesn't apply to you guys. And then this is the big one. This is the last one I want to talk about because public service loan forgiveness. It would be eliminating the nonprofit status of hospitals and healthcare facilities. Okay. I don't think that's going to make it one way or the other. Why? Let's just call it what it is. Okay. Hospitals, like, they tend to pay off a lot of senators, as do pharmaceutical companies. It's a big, I mean, did I say pay off? I mean, they're big donors to those politicians and their political campaigns, right? Therefore, I don't think hospitals are going anywhere because with the nonprofit stuff, because they'll fight that tooth and nail. So all of you guys that are really, really scared of them changing the nonprofit status of hospitals to nonprofit, I don't think it's going to happen. So you guys can breathe a lot easier. Now, going back to what I said earlier, again, I brought up the reconciliation stuff and I brought up the votes in the very beginning. Okay. The reason why I brought that up is because, again, not one Democrat voted for this. Like, if you have something on PSLF that is going to change, that means that you have to have every Republican on board to do it. And PSLF is a very popular program, and politicians, that's their career. They want to get reelected. So I don't see them touching anything when it comes to PSLF. Now, the other part of this for you guys that are students or thinking about going back to grad school, there was a change to the income-based repayment plans that they had proposed. And before I go into that, I will answer this question because I've gotten this a couple times, but this specific one I'll answer. My payments are going to go up 10x unless I recertify my income. And I was instructed to submit a paper form, but I can't find it online. Only conciliation form, Yeah, you are not going to find it online. It doesn't matter if you submit it. They said that they're not going to actually process it. You don't have to pay 10x. You can just go in and tell them to put you onto forbearance, and they will do it. It's unfortunate because you won't get months towards credit while this stuff is going through, but you won't have to make the higher payments. Just tell them to put you on forbearance, and you'll be fine on that situation. Okay. So then the big news, this big IBR plan that they've been rolling out. Now, in the last live chat, I touched on this a little bit. I'm going to touch on this a little bit more. Okay. The biggest problem with the income-based repayment plan is that it's a bastardization of two different types of finance products. Okay. Way back when Milton Friedman, he had proposed this thing called an income share agreement. Okay. And since we didn't have the framework of that income share agreement in place, Bill Clinton basically said, hey, let's merge this loan product with an income share agreement, and let's call it income driven repayment and IBR and IDR and all these things, right? So they try to take this concept and turn it into a loan. Okay. And that's why a lot of the stuff that's happening right now is just freaking chaotic because it's the product that shouldn't be. Okay. What the new proposed IBR plan is underneath the budget reconciliation bill is more of an income share agreement. Okay. There's some big things in there. I'll go through what people are freaking out about, and then I'll show you why it might not be that big of a deal. Okay. So there would be no time period. There would be no 20 or 25 years. Um, you would just pay a percentage of your income, and that could be forever for some people. Okay. What would happen though is that they would cap your payments. So let's just say at let me back up. They would cap your payments at what you would have paid if you were on the standard 10-year plan. So you can still use the standard 10-year plan. If you used an income-based repayment, they would do a calculation. And what that calculation was this. Let's just say you paid $100,000 or you owed $100,000. Okay. And you were paying that $100,000 in the standard 10-year plan and you were making the minimum payment. I can do a calculation. I'm not going to do it right now, but let's just say that calculation came out that said over the 10 years, you would have paid $125,000 off over those 10 years. So I borrowed 100 grand. I repaid it off in 10 years. I paid 125 grand, 100 grand of principal, 25 grand of interest. Okay. What the new IBR plan would say is that you would make payments based on your income. That would be your minimum payment. But you could not pay more than the $125,000. So if you hit that $125,000 10 years from now, the loan's done. If you hit it 16 years from now, the loan's done. If you hit it 40 years from now, the loan's done. But you never had to worry about your payment being unaffordable, meaning you wouldn't have to worry about your payment being $3,000 a month. It would always be capped, or the minimum payment would be based on your income. Okay. So that is what is in the budget reconciliation bill. We don't know any more details from that. We don't know if it would be available to older borrowers or what. Stay tuned. Again, that's why if you guys aren't subscribed to the channel, be sure to subscribe because we will bring that up as we get more information on it. But I kind of look at it as a double-edged sword. I think it's a good thing, and I think it for some people might not be a great thing. But I look at it as a good thing because there's no tax at the end. It's affordable because it's based on your income. And there's a way out where it's like, hey, if I'm over 16 years, if I paid 100, in my example, 125 grand, the loan's gone. Like I don't have to worry about it. And it was affordable the whole time. So pros and cons on everything, right? I kind of like that plan. It makes it more of a real income share agreement. That's the other reason why I like it, is because it takes out all this noise of this hybrid type of income share agreement / loan. It's more of just an income share agreement. And that's why I think it is helpful. Digging another question. If you ask to go on forbearance, does it happen immediately or is there a long transition period? Normally I would say it happens immediately. The problem is like what I brought up earlier right now is that it is a massive amount of backup in the entire system right now. I mean, think about this. Just with income-driven repayment loans, just save alone. There was over 8 million people on that plan. That's emails that they're getting about it, phone calls that they're getting about it, applications that they're getting about it. There's probably, I would guess, between 10 and 20 million things that they're getting for that alone. That doesn't include public service loan forgiveness of people that actually hit 120 months. It doesn't include PSLF buyback. It doesn't include regular things like, hey, my payments were misallocated, or hey, I'm on an income-driven repayment plan and you guys miscalculated my monthly payments. So there is this backlog because basically nothing was happening over the last 7 months. From like July, when they did the injunction, to basically February, nothing was happening at the loan servicers, which is why a lot of you put in applications in like August to switch from Save to IBR or Pay, and nothing happened. They just weren't doing anything. So it just piled and piled up. And like I said, until this injunction is lifted, they don't even know what they can and can't do, primarily because of that income-based repayment piece that I told you about with the married filing separately regulation that Biden tried to slip in there. Okay. So a lot of craziness, a lot. Again, the budget reconciliation bill, the stuff I touched on, none of that's close to becoming law. but it's a good thing to know about, just so that way you can see kind of like the direction of which way things are going and where it's going to go. And for me, the good news is that in the budget reconciliation bill, it's like get rid of all these IBR plans. We're just going to have one that's very simplified. And to be honest with you, if they rolled out that IBR plan, there's not even a need for the standard 10-year plan anymore. It's basically everybody goes on IBR, and if you want to pay it off more aggressively, just make extra payments. But your minimum payment's always based on your income. Like that would simplify everything, in my opinion. Which is the whole premise of around the income share agreement to begin with. We'll see. I'm not in Congress, right? So we'll see if they actually end up doing anything. I'm just going to see. I'm going through some of the questions just to make sure that I got them all, because some of them are repetitive. So I don't want to go through them again if I've already answered them all. Got the question in the new IBR plan. Can I file separately still if the budget reconciliation bill goes through? We don't know. That's one of the details that we don't know. I think you would be able to, just because it simplifies a lot of things for the government. We will see. We don't know all that yet. That's a good question. That's one of those wait and see things. So the good news is we have an answer as to why they're not taking the applications. Again, if you got on late, the reason is because it's not just the SAVE regulation. Like everything within that SAVE regulation is on hold. President Biden had tried to slide a regulation in there around income-based repayment plans and how payments are calculated if you're married filing separately, which caused the injunction to then like all income-based repayment plans for the time being. I think they're going to probably get it situated here in the next few weeks. I'm hoping it's by the end of March, if not March, like mid to late April. I don't see it dragging on past more like longer than that. They got to figure out something, and they got to figure out something fast. So with that being said, I think that's all the questions we got. Stay tuned, guys. Well, as soon as we find out, we'll put stuff out there for you guys. As always, it's been fun, and I'm sorry if I was not looking at the screen that much. I apologize, because I got stuff all over the place with different notes and stuff. So I will talk to you guys soon. Enjoy the week, and I'll talk to you guys later.